Lost Light is a survival shooter game where you loot stuff to then sell and upgrade things with. You have a base that's called a shelter. In your shelter are things like storage, store, weapon table, and many more. Your main aim is to upgrade everything in your shelter so you can store more items as well as upgrade your gear. Better items mean higher success rate when you go out to exclusion zones, which I'll cover later in this video. Better items will also allow you to rank up in ranked mode. So yeah, upgrading your shelter would be the main thing about this game. As far as actual gameplay goes, players are called fireflies and players can play as either scavengers or marauders, which I'll go in more detail later. This is your shelter. This is the place where you'll spend a lot of your time in when you play the game. This is literally the place where you will do everything from, so familiarize with the shelter as this will be your home. Every time you go into your base, you'll be sat here looking pretty. Just move your left joystick to any direction and you'll stand up. This is the main lobby screen where you can access literally everything from. At the very beginning, you will have to walk to each and every feature of your shelter to use them. Later in the game, when you level up your account, you'll get this button. This is your quick access button to absolutely everything in your shelter. But to be honest, I can't exactly remember when it unlocks. Maybe around account level 12, but yeah, it ain't available immediately. However, this button right here is available immediately, which opens up your storage. The first hint telling you how important storage is in this game. Anywhere you see all these buttons on the screen, just tap them. They're literally as straightforward as things get. While we're here, leveling your account is also incredibly important as it will help you unlock certain things like items that you can buy in the shop, weapon attachment options, and more. On the top left here is your mission center. Completing these missions is the fastest way to level up, so be sure to check these constantly. Accept all of them as well, so they just sit and wait in the background as you play normally. Alright, moving on. Almost everything in your shelter can be upgraded. Upgrading these will improve a variety of things. For example, upgrading your storage will give you more space to store items. Upgrading your weapon table will allow you to equip more attachments on your guns, which will improve your gun's overall performance. So, the importance of upgrading your shelter is pretty much the main thing in Lost Light. So how to upgrade? Now, this is the part that teaches you the gameplay aspect of Lost Light, so pay attention. Let's go to the feature that you need to upgrade first and ASAP, your storage. When you go to your storage, or any table for that matter, you'll have this button on the top left. This not only tells you what level your table is currently at, you can also click it to bring up the upgrade screen. On the right hand side is a submission panel. This is where and how you can upgrade all your tables. Here are the required upgrade materials, and clicking any of the submit buttons will open the submission page. This page allows you to submit multiple materials in one go. When you submit an item, that item will be taken out of your storage and permanently stored in the upgrade process. There will be no turning back and pulling the items or cash out. If you are lacking in materials, you can simply click on the item name in the material list and it will bring out this item's info window over here, telling you where you can get the item from. I'll cover this window in a minute. Each tier has a different upgrade duration. The higher the level, the longer it takes to finish the upgrade process. Currently, the only way to decrease the waiting time is by purchasing the premium privilege B pack, which is actually great, so people can't just spend insane amount of money to quickly upgrade everything. Next, this is the item info window. This info window will tell you everything you need to know about an item, including where to get it from. There are actually 3 versions of this window. Number 1 is the version that opens up when you click an item from the upgrade list, just like we did now. This version automatically opens up this mini window, the source window, which immediately brings up these buttons on the right. The buttons that pop out here will vary depending on the item type. Crafting items will include workbench, which takes you directly to the crafting table, and non-crafting items will only bring up these buttons that will take you to places where you can potentially buy the item from. If you don't see the item in Heidi's shop, it means that you haven't unlocked that item yet, or it's simply just not available to buy at all. We'll cover unlocking items later. If you don't see it in the black market, it means no one's selling it yet. Again, we'll also cover black market later on. Number 2, this is the version that opens up when you click an item from everywhere else like your storage or backpack. This window opens up everything you can do with that item, including where to buy it from. Number 1 and number 2 are the same, but number 1 is basically optimized for quick purchase. Number 3 is a storage item type window that has extra buttons like auto sort and label. Clicking search will always take you to black market listing for that particular item. On the main part of the item window are these 2 buttons. Map tips will bring out the maps where you can find a selected item. Some items have a high spawn chance at a specific location operation and is shown like this. The source button will switch between these options. Lastly, right here is the item type. See this construction label over here? It's green, right? I'll cover that in the crafting section, so stay tuned. Let's now talk about how you carry and store items. This will be a big part of the guide because this is the feature that all survival games desperately work from. This is your inventory window. It has 4 different storage types. To the left is your equipped storage. One is the standard storage. Items placed in these slots will be taken to exclusion zones with you. When going out to exclusion zones, items in this page will be taken out with you to battle, but can only be brought back into the base if you extract successfully. I know I keep talking about exclusion zones. I promise I'll cover this later as it's a whole different story on its own with lots of things to learn about it. Plus, you probably already know it as it's one of the first things that you learn in your tutorial. Anyway, if you die without extracting successfully, you could lose all of these items. However, number 2, secure case storage. Click either the secure storage itself or this tab to see what's inside it. Items placed in the secure storage will always be brought back to your base even if you fail to extract from the exclusion zone. However, items brought back in the secure case will be labeled as broken if you don't extract successfully. Broken items are still fully usable as normal. The only difference is you cannot sell them in the black market. Number 3, arsenal. Arsenal is exactly the same as storage but with one difference. Items that you transfer using this move button gets transferred to arsenal first. Last is your storage tab. This is where you will keep most of your stuff in. Notice how I said most? Yup, there's another place you can use for storage. We'll cover that next. But to finish this page off, let's cover the buttons. Bottom left is a move button. This button will move everything from this equip window straight into your arsenal window first. If your arsenal is full, the items will then get moved to your storage. This wheel button allows you to choose which items from the equip window gets transferred to your arsenal or storage by using this move button. It's basically a filter. This left arrow opens up the split screen system. This is how you transfer items from one storage tab to another. This is the filter button that helps you filter and highlight specific item types. This button allows you to select multiple items and sell them all in one go. This button helps you quickly organize your storage by not only filling up all the empty slots, it also organizes your storage by putting all the items together depending on their item type. Lastly, storage item types like backpack and cases have a label button. This allows you to label that item and be more organized. They even have an auto sort feature so you can quickly organize the items that are inside them. That's it for the main storage window. Next, weapon rack. This is super simple. Here, you can not only store your weapons but also have them out on display. This is actually a pretty cool feature to display all of your best weapons. So when people visit your shelter, they can walk up to the wall, inspect the weapon, click this panel, and they'll be able to see all your weapon stats. Alright, enough for the storage section. Let's move on to the actual gameplay side of things. Finally, exclusion zone. In basic terms, exclusion zones are a bunch of maps where you carry out all your operations. But before actually going out there are a few things that you need to know. First of all, you need to prepare for the operation. In the main character screen is this button on the bottom right, prepare for ops. Click it. Here is your loadout prep screen. This is where you decide what items you want to take with you in the exclusion zone. Exclusion zone is basically a bunch of different maps where you'll be doing your looting and killing. Be careful though guys, each map will have both bots and real players scattered across the map. And guess what? These real players are also out to do the same thing as you. Insurance screen. This is very straightforward as it already tells you on the top right what it's actually for. But just to be clear, you will only get insured items back if no one loots it from your death box. On the bottom right are 2 insurance tiers. Nothing too fancy, it just means that you get your items back sooner with a drone retrieval but at a higher insurance cost. Anyway, click either skip insurance or insure and you'll be sent back to the main screen. From here, on the bottom right are a few more options. Tapping any of these 3 buttons will take you to this screen. Here is where you can choose normal or ranked. Ranked unlocks at level 5, so really you don't have to worry about this for now. Here we have the map selection bit. Here allows you to queue up for multiple maps and enter on a random basis. This is solo mode, duos, and squads. Squads mode is only available at a certain time. Once you're set, click confirm. Then click move out to go out to the exclusion zone. This is the briefing screen. It tells you how many real players aka fireflies are in your game. Once you're in the map, you run around and look for whatever you need. Let's now talk about operations. In short, some people call each operation either a raid or a run. There are also 2 types of operations, normal and ranked. Normal and ranked maps layout are exactly the same. However, each mode have different mechanics. And ranked doesn't offer BAF factory as a map. But either way, here are the things that you can always expect to be in a run. Each run will vary depending on what your personal goal is. Are you there to look for crafting materials or are you there to loot for a specific weapon weapon for a specific mission. Then we have bots. There will always be bots in every map. Same with players. There are also beefed up bots called elites. Elites are more tanky and better geared, so they're harder to deal with but offer better rewards. Elites are bots with blue hoodies, and on their voice lines they will always say something like, "We got rats on our tail." The keyword is rat. Elites always say that word. Last on bots, we have the main boss Raymond. I don't actually have a clip of fighting him, but I found one on YouTube from a CC called Killer220. Anyway, Raymond is one bad mother. He is insanely tanky, super accurate, and has enough firepower to melt you in 2 seconds. Raymond can only be found in this area of the Art Company map and doesn't always spawn. But you guessed it, his loot is amazing all the time and sometimes drops legendary items. Each map spawns different items, which means some upgrade materials can only be found in certain maps and sometimes in specific locations within the map. For example, scraps can always be found in this side of the BAF factory. Each map will also have locked doors and secret locations that are unmarked. These locked doors can only be opened with a key that matches that specific door. During a gunfight, whenever a player gets knocked down, the player that knocked them down have the option to either finish them off for a full kill and be able to take all their items, or players can choose to rescue them. Doing this will put you both in the same team, making your run a little safer. Another way to team up with someone is to send a team invite signal out. Whenever you get close enough to someone and you press this button, it will send out a signal which alerts them of a team invite. This way, you guys can team up without the need to fight at all. When you get knocked down, you have the option to send an SOS signal that all players can hear from a distance. This is a system that lets you put on a cash reward for enemies to rescue you. Beware though, this could lead to someone who doesn't want to rescue you straight to your location and finish you off and take your loot. Anyway, after you've done your task, it's time to get out. This part is called extraction and operates in different ways. But before we go over the extraction system, see this armband over here? This is your danger indicator. Green means there's no enemies close to you, and when this starts to flash red, paired with a sound alarm, it means an enemy is super close to you. And lastly, before we get to extraction, see this blue circle that comes out away from your character? This helps scan the area and highlights every unopened chest and bags and boxes for you to loot. Enemy players can't see this thing, so don't worry about it blowing your cover. Okay, extraction system. First, let's talk about the green extraction methods. In normal mode, there are green extraction points that will also be available to use right from the very beginning. Now, these red extraction points, however, have specific requirements for you to be able to use them. For example, this red extraction point might require you to have a dog tag in your backpack before you can actually extract from it. Now in ranked mode, it's a little more complex. In fact, seeing it's a big part of the ranked system, I'll fully cover it in ranked section later. Anyway, once you reach any green extraction zones, you will have to wait inside this extraction vicinity for at least 12 seconds before you are fully out of the map. Taking damage will reset the countdown, so make sure you pre-plan your extraction method before you even run into it. Return system. When a player gets fully killed, they will have the option to return in exchange for some cash. There's a number of return options that offer different perks. The more expensive the return package, the better the perks. Firstly, when using return, the enemy that killed you will be highlighted in red. However, if they move too far away from your death box, the tracker will stop. Tracking parameter means the range of how far the tracker works from your death box. Equipment capacity is the size of the bag that you come back with. And distance to target means how far your respawn location would be from your killer. Lastly, returning players are able to see where their death box is at all times. Marauder system. There is another way to play the game in normal mode, the Marauder mode. You can find this mode in the ops preparation screen. See this button over here? Tap that. This lets you switch between the standard scavenger mode where you can fully customize your loadout or Marauder mode. And if this button isn't showing up, it means you're in ranked mode. To switch to normal mode from this window, just tap your rank icon over here and you'll be able to switch back to normal mode. This mode allows players to play as a Marauder. You know, the bot. Playing in this mode can both be fun and helpful and a little bit of a troll. Firstly, the bots won't actually shoot you unless you shoot them. Then they get angry. Going in as a Marauder will also allow you to go in with a pre-selected set of items for free. The set you get changes every run, or you can click this refresh button and get a new set of items for a price. Playing as a Marauder uses energy, and energy refreshes 1 every hour. As far as the gameplay mechanics go, once you're in the map, everything is exactly the same. However, when you return to your shelter, you must move all items from your equipped window into your storage or lose them once you close this window and fully go into your shelter. What's great about the Marauder mode is you can keep the items that you get given at the start of the match, which is a very super quick way to raise some cash. While we're on the gameplay subject, let's cover the rank system. Ranked and normal modes are practically the same as far as the map layout goes, spots, players, and everything else. The only differences are the battle card system and the extraction system. Battle cards. These are things that you collect and bring back to the base, which in turn awards you with the points that you need to climb the ranks. Each rank will require you to collect a certain amount of battle cards in order to move up a rank. Battle cards can be found from bots or by looting them all over the map. They are completely random and the amount you pick up is also random. There is also a battle card entry fee. This means that if you fail a ranked run by dying or not extracting successfully, you lose rank points. And if you do this enough times, you'll drop ranks. Throughout the ranked game, at random times, full map scans will take place. All battle cards above a certain amount will be highlighted on the map as well as marked like this, which everyone else can see. The amount varies per color. Green, blue, purple. Purple being the highest. Red markers mean that that particular set of battle cards is enough for you to get out and extract with. What do I mean by this? In rank, players can only extract after collecting a certain amount of battle cards. The amount needed varies per rank and is shown on this live counter over here. Once you've collected the minimum amount, this counter will change to this. Clicking this new button will call a helicopter that will be your personal extraction system. You can only use this button if you are in an open space, a big open space. Once you've called the chopper, it will take a few seconds for the chopper to arrive. Once the chopper has arrived, you have to wait a little longer to be able to actually start the extraction process. This whole thing lasts exactly for 3 minutes, which you can see over here. Once the 3 minutes have passed, you can then start the extraction process that also lasts for 12 seconds and resets when you take damage. You can't keep collecting more battle cards to earn more rank points. Playing ranked with a team will give you a higher minimum battle card goal before you can extract. However, the cards collected are shared between the whole team. So if your teammates collect 50 cards and you collect 50, the counter will display 100. Once the goal has been reached, any of the party members can call for extraction. The extraction zone can then be used by any of the team members and can be used by all players at the same time. Then we have the weather system. From time to time, in Mount Akiyama, Ark, and Harbor, heavy rain could start. Heavy rain may cause a thunderstorm to start. When this happens, you can literally get struck by lightning if you're out in the open and your luck is terrible. Now let's talk about the health system. You have the base HP. If this fully depletes, you get knocked down. Then we have the stamina system. When running or sprinting, you use stamina. Once your stamina runs out, you become exhausted and come to a very slow walk. During exhaustion, you'll slowly start to regain some stamina. Once you hit around 15% stamina, you'll be able to run or sprint again. Stamina recharges when you either fully stop or enter stealth mode, which I'll cover under the movement section. Some guns like a sniper rifle, which is heavier than a pistol, consumes more stamina. Holding a sniper also regenerates stamina slower than when carrying a pistol. I'll go into more details regarding weapons and items later in the video. Taking damage from bullets can either break your bones or make you bleed, or both. And when your legs break, you enter a fractured state. And when you're in fractured state, you cannot sprint. And only bullets, grenades, and falling from high places can cause fractures. Then there's bleeding. When you're bleeding, you lose health over time. If you move while you're bleeding, you lose health faster. But only grenades and bullets cause bleeding, not falling. Don't worry, I'm gonna cover later in the video how you can actually cure these statuses. But anyway, hunger and thirst. The more you run, the faster you become hungry and thirsty. And when you're super hungry and thirsty, your vision will go slightly darker. That's literally it. You can't really die from it. Alright, so the damage system. This system is insanely complicated in Lost Lives. Since this is a beginner's guide, I'll only cover the basics. Helmets and armors reduce the amount of damage players take. The higher the armor grade, the more damage you can absorb. However, ammo also has grades. The higher the quality of the ammo, the more damage they can deal. So even if you have a level 6 armor, don't think you're invincible, as some players might be carrying ammo that can deal high damage against a level 6 armor. However, arms, hands, and legs are unprotected, so players that take damage through these body parts can be taken down relatively easy, even with the low quality ammo. And lastly, bullets deal less damage the farther it travels to hit the target. This is called range in the gun stats. Moving on. Like I said before, you can only bring back items to your base if you extract successfully. If you die or the timer runs out before you can extract successfully, you will lose all items apart from the ones that you stored in your secure case. Items that come back with you in the secure case after a failed run will be labeled as broken. However, there isn't a broken label specifically. See this sellable label over here? If an item is broken, this won't be here at all. And broken items cannot be sold in a black market. Lastly, broken items can't be used to unlock items in a shop either. Speaking of unlocking, item unlocking system. In order to be able to buy things from Heidi's shop, you must find them from the exclusion zones and bring them back through successful evac. Items brought back through successful extractions are labeled as sellable, which in effect are submittable items. Once you're back in your shelter, you can then submit them for unlocking in two ways. One is by clicking the item and click the submit button. Two, by going into Heidi's shop, tap here and the submittable items will be shown here. You'll also notice the green icon over here. This means that item is still yet to be unlocked. If you click an item, click unlock and it still doesn't show up to be submitted, it could mean that you haven't reached the minimum account level yet, or because you haven't gotten the mission to unlock it yet. Once you've submitted an item to Heidi, you will then be able to buy that item from Heidi in the future. Items like weapons and bags that other players bring into exclusion zones with them will never be classed as sellable, which means if you kill a real player and take their loot, they won't be labeled as sellable. However, if you loot something that they looted in that same exclusion zone run, they'll be sellable. Workbench, also known as crafting. This is basically your crafting table, but that name is already taken, so yeah. Anyway, here is where you can craft various things such as upgrade materials, heals, and intelligence items such as secret room keys. This is where you can also dismantle some items to get other crafting materials. And every item on this list is clickable, so you'll be able to quickly find out where to hunt for them in exclusion zones. You can only craft one of that particular item at a time, but you can craft two different items at the same time, which means you can only craft one hammer but can also craft a screwdriver at the same time as a hammer. This can be expanded one slot by buying the premium elite. Consumables. Here we'll discuss different consumable item types and their use. Let's start with medicines. These are the different types of medicines. Healing kits. First aid kits. These heal base HP damage as well as removes fracture and bleeding. Each kit is different in how fast they heal. Each kit also has a durability. To keep it simple, this civilian first aid kit has 400 durability. Using this will heal 48 base HP per second at the cost of 48 durability per second. Note though, if you have a fracture, this thing will consume a massive 110 durability per 0.8 seconds on top of the 48 per second that you heal with your base HP. Then we have painkillers. These items will put your character in a numb state, also known as sedative state. Numb state will basically allow you to keep running even when you have a broken leg. Painkillers last for a certain amount of time, so their best use is basically to use them before you even get in a fight. And something like the adrenaline shot not only puts you in a numb state for 5 minutes, it also gives you 10% movement speed boost for 150 seconds. Bandage and splint kits. These are single-use medicines that's only purpose is to cure bleeding or fractures. And last on the medicines, armor plates. These help repair your helmet or body armor. Using armor plates to repair with uses significantly less item durability. Then we have food and others. These things heal your stamina and hydration. And some of the high value ones offer things like movement speed boost and base HP heal over time on top of the stamina and hydration replenishment. And last on the consumables, special equipment. These are basically quest items where you take this to an exclusion zone and use them at specific locations. Alright, the juicy bit. Weapons and weapons table. There are 5 types of weapons in Lost Light. Assault rifles, shotguns, SMGs, DMRs, and sniper rifles. Weapons can be built in various ways that suits the user. To build the best weapon for you, click the weapon and click modify to open the weapons table. On the screen, you'll get to choose the attachments that you want to use for your weapon and make a weapon that suits your playstyle. Some of these attachment slots will be locked until you reach a certain weapon table level. Once the slots are unlocked, you'll either need to loot the attachment and submit it, or buy it from black market, or reach a certain account level to purchase it from Heidi. On the top left is this button. Tapping this will bring out a list of all the weapons in your storage. Doesn't include weapons in the weapons rack though. Tapping this arrow key or swiping your finger here will provide all the weapon info. Or you can click this button to bring them all out in one page. This button helps you choose some preset builds for the gun, and clicking this button helps you buy the attachments. Going back to the item window for the weapon, you'll see these stats. Click them to learn about what each stat means. And below are more stats. You'll notice that this weapon also has durability. The durability on weapons go down the more you shoot them. However, they go down very slow, so don't worry too much about that. They will take quite a big damage on failed runs though if you retrieve them using the insurance. Armor and helmet. This bit's quite simple. All you need to know is that these reduce the damage you take from bullets. The higher the tier, the less damage you take, the less bullet penetration takes place. Like I said before though, there are bullets that can pierce through armor. So let's say you're wearing a level 5 armor, but someone has an ammo that fully penetrates level 5 armor. You can still get melted very quickly. Shooting range. This is where you can practice things like recoil control and do damage and general weapon performance tests. Highly recommend for you to use this room a lot. You do need to upgrade it first before you can enter it though, but it's super cheap to do so. In here, you'll have unlimited ammo and you can also set the dummy armor and helmet by tapping this button. You can quickly access the weapon modification menu by tapping this button. And lastly, you can set a distance of the dummies by shooting these panels up here. Super helpful to see how much damage you deal based on the distance as well as how effective the gun is in various distances. Black market. Here is where you can find all sorts of items that other players are selling. If you haven't unlocked an item yet, you can buy them here but often at a higher price. Likewise, on this tab, you can sell items that have sellable label on it at a price that you want. Simply tap on the item that you want to sell and this window pops up. Tap this button to check the current market prices and stock levels. This slider allows you to set how many of that item to sell, and tapping this panel will let you manually set the price. This sell feature is a little complex, so listen carefully. Selling an item will cost you a fee. The fee is percentage based and it also has a multiplier. In basic terms, the fee is decided based on how much you sell an item and also how much more expensive you price it away from the original price. So before you click confirm, make sure you check your income here on the left. Trading center. Here you'll find different shops. Hidey store is where you can buy everything that you've unlocked, aka turned in. Some items are also unlockable past a certain account level. Items in Hidey store have a stock count that is shared between all the players in your region, which means if it's on 0, then other players have bought all the stock. Don't worry though, Hidey stock replenishes every hour and you see the timer over here. Hidden smuggling is a shop that sells high value loot. Items over here also have a stock amount, and more often than not there is only one of that item for that particular hour. And yup, you guessed it, hidden smuggling refreshes every hour and the timer can be seen here. When the shop refreshes, new items would appear. Even tier 6 bags that have 45 slots appear in the shop, so be sure to check this regularly. Bounty store. This is a special shop where you can spend currency that you earn by playing ranked mode. And last but definitely not the least, movement mechanics. This is the thing that could make or break your runs. Understanding how you can move around the map could literally mean you'll have plenty of successful runs. First of all, go into settings, click general, scroll down to the bottom until you see stealth walk button. Choose either hold or tap, it's up to you. Push is very awkward to use, so I strongly recommend not using that setting. While you're here, look down for lead and turn that on too. You'll also use that a lot. Anyway, choosing hold or tap for stealth walk will make this button come out. This is something that you're gonna use a lot. Stealth walk completely hides your footstep audio. Basically, using this button will make you walk super slow but completely silent. Absolutely amazing for sneaking up on someone or escaping safely. Your pistol weighs much less than every other gun. Not only will you run faster while holding a pistol, you'll also drain stamina slower and regenerate stamina faster. Alright, lean. Enabling lean will make these buttons pop out. These are great for peeking out of corners. Peeking allows you to scan an area or shoot enemies without fully exposing your entire body, which means the enemy will have a harder time trying to connect shots against you. You can also climb on top or over things by simply walking up to a surface and jumping while holding the left D-pad up. You can actually climb relatively high surfaces, so get creative and try different climbing spots to reach certain heights. Be careful though, jumping down from really high places will not only deal damage to your HP, you'll also break your legs. And last but not the least, third person peeking. Build a habit of hugging the wall and looking around you before you push forward. This is especially important when going through doorways, as many people camp behind doors and ambush people that just rush through. Whoa, we covered a lot there guys. I stream Lost Light every day, so if you have any questions, come visit me on stream and let's chat. Alternatively, join my Discord channel and catch me there when I'm not live. Lastly, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe for some more if you like the content. Peace!
Oh! Maple syrup won it! GG's!